Gerald R. Ford was born in Omaha 101 years ago today.
And tonight we take time to commemorate the birth dates of the only Nebraska-born U.S. president.
And our Lance Schwartz joins us now with some very interesting tidbits of information. Lance?
Indeed. Thanks, guys. Like most Nebraskans, I was aware that Gerald Ford was the only American president ever born in Nebraska, but I didn't know about it. It's extremely surprising that he only lived in Nebraska for 16 days. Not only that, Gerald didn't even know he was born in Nebraska till he was 17 years old. It's really a pretty crazy story. It's located in the Field Club Historic District, just a few blocks south of Dodge Street. We're at the corner of 32nd and Woolworth, the birthplace of the 38th President of the United States. He was born in Omaha on July 14, 1913. His name at birth was Leslie King, Jr. He was named after his father, Leslie King, Sr., who was not a very nice person.
In fact, he was a scoundrel. He was the man who abused verbally and even physically Ford's biological mother.
Kenneth Bay works for the Gerald R. Ford Conservation Center, and he says that Leslie's mother, Dorothy, fled her dreadful marriage and took her baby to Illinois just a couple of weeks after he was born. Eventually, young Leslie wound up in Michigan, where Dorothy would marry a man named Gerald R. Ford, the man who would adopt young Leslie King, Jr. and rename him Gerald R. Ford, Jr.
During the first 17 years of his life, Gerald Ford did not even know that his stepdad wasn't his biological father.
Gerald went on to play football at Michigan. He earned a law degree from Yale. He served in the U.S. Navy and represented Michigan in Congress for 25 years. Ford became the only person ever to become president without winning a general election for president or vice president. Gerald Rudolph Ford became the leader of the free world after the Watergate scandal forced Richard Nixon to resign. Ford visited Nebraska twice while president. His first stop was in Lincoln in 1974, and he made a return trip to Omaha in 1975. The original mansion that Ford was born in was destroyed by a fire in 1971, but this beautiful memorial is located on the same site as his birthplace. Here in the middle of the garden, visitors get to see and hear from the 38th President of the United States.
I ask all athletes, amateur and professional, to help our young people.
Ford was the longest-lived president ever, 45 days older than Ronald Reagan. President Ford passed away in 2006 at the age of 93. And coming up this Friday, it's back to Omaha for part 2 of our Gerald Ford miniseries. Located right behind the garden is the Gerald R. Ford Conservation Center, and you will be amazed at what they do there to preserve the past. I'll show you around the Conservation Center on Friday at 6 in Lance's Journal. And the Nebraska State Historical Society, they do a great job. You presidential history junkies would love to take part of that.
Fascinating stuff. Thanks, Lance.
You bet.
Stick around, we'll update your forecast next.